Good morning. Thank you, Tim, for that wonderful music as usual. And I'm going to take this opportunity to remind Dana that she is doing the offertory, so if you haven't come up with something, you need to come up with something while I'm doing my talk. Notice how I just smoothly slid that in there? Did you look at the order of service? The order of service says offertory. I told you not to speak out this morning. Didn't I have the, okay. So what exactly does being on purpose with your purpose mean? I have to tell you something that happened this morning, and it was so right on, as we used to say in the 70s, that I have to share it with you. We're driving to church, and I'm stressing out about this lesson, doing everything I tell my kids not to do. And we get to the corner of Riverside and Margaret, and we catch a red light, and I'm sitting there, and this person on a bicycle rides right in front of the car, excuse me, stops at the corner, and my head does a, and I follow this person as this person rides her bicycle down Riverside, and it's Reverend Therese. And I said to myself, well, this is divine order. Here I am getting ready to give the lesson, and Reverend Therese rides right in front of the car as we're stopped at the traffic light this morning. So you obviously don't think that's funny. I thought it was funny. Now I know how Gene felt when he used to tell those jokes and nobody would laugh. Remember? We would all be like, okay. Speaking of Gene, I remember him saying that whenever he chose a lesson topic, things would happen to him throughout the week that would be strikingly on point. This happened to me on Thursday. A student came to me upset about her test grade. The marking period ends next week. I told her she would have enough time to bring up her grade. She said with tears in her eyes, "Not before the end of the 9 weeks." And I said to her, well, since you said it's not possible, I guess it isn't. Well, the tears started to flow down her face, but I didn't let up. I was intense. I explained about being positive no matter what the circumstances, and that she had to see the result that she wanted. I wondered why I was being so hard on this little girl. I felt bad, which is not uncommon. At the end of class, the student came up to me with the biggest grin on her face. "Miss McDuffie, I just want to thank you for giving me back my positive attitude. Have a great weekend." And she bounced out of the room. That, to me, is an example of being on purpose with your purpose. At the time that you are doing something, you may feel spirit-driven, but there may be a part of you that says, why am I doing this? Why does it not feel good? But you are on purpose with your purpose. Do not question the guidance you are being given. It is divine, it is perfect, and it carries with it success. I first joined Unity Choir because I wanted to sing, not direct, not lead, not tell folks what to do, just sing as part of an ensemble. I told Mike, the music director, that from the very beginning. Well, after a few months, I was occasionally leading the choir at Mike's request, but for the most part kept to my agreement to sing only. 2007 found us with a new minister who promptly fired Mike for insubordination. I was asked to be the interim music director until they were able to find somebody else. 7 years later, I am still the interim music director. I bet most of you didn't know that. Being on purpose with your purpose means answering the call to serve, the operative word being serve. No matter who you are and what you do, every soul manifested on the earth plane is in service to God and to all living creatures. I have a very wise spiritual advisor who frequently reminds me of the difference between knowing and feeling. She spells out the word know, K-N-O-W. When we are discussing something and it's a fact, a spiritual fact, she will say, you K-N-O-W this. Otherwise, it's feeling. I know that my purpose here at Unity not only is to enhance the spiritual experience through music, but to provide stability and joyful nature to this church. There is a sense of joy in every situation. That is why it was so hilarious to me when I was sitting at the light and Reverend Therese rides her bike in front of the car. That's just God having a joke. That's just God having fun. Thank you. For example, As some of you are a little touchy about this, and I didn't know whether to bring it up, but I'm going to just because I can. If our Christmas Eve service last year was an episode on Seinfeld, it would have won an Emmy. It was not fun to experience, but looking back, it was hilarious. I'm standing there with a microphone in each hand, not knowing where to put them, and Reverend Therese says, "And now Deb will honor us with a song." And Dana was looking at me laughing, like she always does. And it was one of those moments, if it had been on television, you would have been rolling on the floor. Sometimes Dana and I will start talking about it, and the tears will just stream down our face. We're laughing so hard at some of the things that happened that evening. The lesson in that is, you have to learn what needs to be learned from a situation, then you have to let it go. Do not own it. Remember, it's not about you. That is my mantra in the classroom. It's not about you. It's about service to others. Scripture talks about being my brother's keeper and do unto others. But I don't remember Jesus ever saying, well, I can change these loaves and fishes into food for 5,000, but what's in it for me? You have to think about that. When you are on purpose with your purpose, you place your humanness in its proper place and walk on a spiritual path to wholeness as a child of God. We are life force energy that is constantly in motion and in service. When we choose self over service, there is no peace, no joy, and certainly no spiritual enlightenment. Once you actualize your purpose based on service to others, there is a clarity and peace that moves through your entire being. And once that purpose is done, God moves you on to your next assignment, for our Christ energy is constantly moving and changing and adapting to new circumstances. I teach many spiritual concepts in the classroom, which is a no-no. So far, no parent has complained, and I have been teaching now for 15 years. I believe that is because my purpose to instill spiritual qualities into young folks' hearts and minds. As 2012 Paxton Teacher of the Year, the quote that the students selected as their favorite of mine was, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience, but spiritual beings having a human experience." This saying was plastered in the centerfold of the Paxton yearbook. And when I opened the yearbook and saw that quote, I was shocked beyond belief. Mainly because I didn't think they were listening. And secondly, because I didn't know that that statement had resonated with them the way it did. I say many affirmations throughout the year in class, and this was the one that they chose as their favorite. My next comment after that quote was always, "So get over it." Okay? Just plain old get over it. And once again, and then the class would say, "It's not about you." We had a little routine going on. The experience of an aneurysm in 2011 brought me closer to the understanding of my purpose. 6 hours of brain surgery, and 3 months later, I was better than ever. I say that because if I thought I knew my purpose before, I definitely know my purpose now. Few people survive the trauma of an aneurysm. Most are left with a residual physical trait. I have none. But I do KNOW my purpose, and I'm not done yet doing what I do for the glory of God. Being on purpose means giving 100% of your energy to being that unique human expression of God. Each of us was created with a specific purpose in mind. No one can do your job better than you because you alone were designed for that purpose. There is a purpose for each and every person who comes into your life. Service is our reason for being. If you are not on purpose with that, you are floundering around like a fish out of water. Because everything really is in divine order. If you listen to that still, small voice, you will be guided to your purpose. You will even be told how to achieve your goals. Human error causes us to constantly surround ourselves with noise, television, internet activities, and social networking. These, among other things, keep us from hearing the voice of God. As Liz and John sing this beautiful song from Phantom, why not relax and see what inspiration comes to you from their purposeful music ministry? Ladies and gentlemen, Liz Dixon and John Zimmerman.
No more talk of darkness, forget your wide-eyed fears. God's here, nothing can harm us, our fears are far behind us. God will be our freedom, His peace will dry our tears. He's here with us, beside us, to guard us and to guide us.
All we ask is every waking moment, fill our hearts with love for all mankind. We will need you with us now and always. Guide us, Lord, in all we say and do. That's all we ask of you.
God will be our shelter, He will be our light. We're safe, nothing can harm us, our fears are far behind us.
All we ask is freedom, a world with no more night, and you, God, always beside us, to hold us and to hide us.
For God will give to us one love, one lifetime. He will lead us from our solitude. We all need God with us here beside us. Anywhere we go, God will go too. Heal us, that's all we ask of you.
All we ask is for your loving spirit. With your guidance we will follow you.
Share each day with us, each night, each morning.
God, we love you.
You know we do. Bless us, that's all we ask of you. Anywhere we go, God will go too. Love us, that's all we ask of you.
Bravo. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, John. I love the drive from home to school every day because it's an hour of talking to and listening to God. I always say the prayer of protection, Lord's Prayer, and 23rd Psalm as I drive across the Buckman Bridge. You know why. being thankful to get on the other side. Then I pray that I do and say what God would have me say over the course of the day, because human nature often takes over. I love gardening because nature to me is the very essence of God's presence on earth. One of my favorite scriptures is Matthew, "Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. Yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these." Everything in my garden seems to speak to me. The plants, the birds, the butterflies, dragonflies, all seem to have something to say, and I gladly listen. They never misinterpret my thoughts or words, and they seem to love me unconditionally, except the mosquitoes. My students call my classes Life 101 because we touch on just about everything. My job is to instill the love and knowledge of music in my students, but my purpose is to instill qualities such as integrity, humility, caring, and self-worth. In Reverend Teresa's first lesson here at Unity, she used the phrase, "God knows." That really resonated with me. The next time a student lied in class, I just looked at her and said, "God knows." And the whole class responded with an ooh. The truth in that, it just filled the room. It is a powerful and true affirmation. God knows our every thought, our every deed. You can have personal purpose as well as divine purpose. A personal purpose of mine is to conquer my impatience. Honestly, sometimes my energy is moving so fast that I hurry to express before I forget what I'm thinking. This is especially true in music, but seeps into other areas of my life as well. For spirit moves out of time, space, and dimension, while humanness is so limited. We should become more spirit-like as we mature, but we have a tendency to get caught up in humanness, which causes us to think and act in dense and material ways. Whenever I'm around a baby or a young child, I do what I call a spirit check. I will ask the baby for a smile or say a simple sentence to a young child. If the child puckers up that lip and gets ready to wail, I know a spirit check is in order. Children are attuned to spirit, not personality. So however they respond to you at any given point in time is where you are in your spiritual unfoldment at that time. One thing I love about working with teens is they are old enough to have meaningful conversation, yet they still express unconditional love. They will hug you, tell you they love you, ask you what's wrong when you've got a frown on your face, and will also tell you when you've made a mistake with no judgment. I do make a lot of mistakes. I tell my kids that from the very first day of school, but I also apologize a lot. It's that impatience thing again. So, if you are on purpose with your purpose, you are calm, peaceful, and joyous. That doesn't mean there won't be rough times. After all, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. The calm comes from KNOWing. The peace comes from your connection to God, and the joy comes from service. As well as being able to laugh at your mistakes, you should be able to move on from them, because as we give, we truly do receive. No one can decide your purpose for you. You cannot decide your own purpose. That is God-given and divinely ordained. If you are constantly struggling, if things keep happening to keep you from your goal, maybe you are trying to force a situation that is not for you. Maybe it's not God's purpose in your life. Take a breather, be still, get quiet, and ask for guidance, but be open to the answer. It may come from a stranger, a song lyric, a cashier in a supermarket, or someone riding in front of you on a bicycle on the way to church. God has infinite ways of speaking to you. Just be open to receive. I love synchronistic moments. My next door neighbor, a former Marine sergeant with advanced stage Alzheimer's, came up to me Friday afternoon as I was working in the garden and stressing over this lesson and said to me, "Deb, The world is a better place because you're in it. And then he walked away. If you remember last Sunday, I said those exact words to the congregation at the beginning of the service. That's when I knew divine order was in place and I could move forward with ease and grace. Your purpose may change over the years, but the one common denominator that purpose always has to do is with service to others in some way. In closing, I would like to share a message I received from a 2009 Paxson graduate. I bumped heads with this young lady for 4 years, the 4 years that she was in chorus. She had so much potential and so little self-worth. Dear Miss Deborah J. McDuffie, when I first met you, I was intimidated. As I got to know you, you made me hate you. But in the end, I couldn't help but love you and respect you. You embodied everything I should aspire to be. You are a strong, beautiful Black woman with nothing but love in your heart. Your chorus class was the highlight of my days at Paxson. You will never understand how much sitting in front of your piano for 4 years has helped me to become the woman I am today. Without you, I don't know if I would have made it this far. I tried to write this letter after graduation, but the words wouldn't come. I guess I needed time to see how much influence you had in my life. After seeing you again, I knew it was time for me to sit down and write this. Thank you letter. Thank you for scaring me. Thank you for making me go outside my comfort zone. Thank you for embarrassing me in front of 98 other students. Thank you for sharing your love of music with me. Thank you for caring about me, but most of all, thank you for loving me. Bernice Green. What better affirmation than that I am on my purpose than that letter? May God bless you and show you your purpose in life. Thank you.